hen, a dove, a tree, a caher. I go home, boys won't leave the girls alone. Pulled me hair and they stole me comb, and that's alright till I get home. She is handsome, she is pretty, she is a belle of Belfast City. She's courting 1, 2, 3, please would you tell me who is she? Albert Bonny says he loves her, all the boys are fighting for her. They knock the door and they ring the bell, saying, oh my true love, are you well? Out she comes as white as snow, rings on her fingers and bells on her toes. Old Jenny Murray says she'll dive, she does to the fellow with the roving eye. I tell me ma when I go home, boys won't leave the girls alone. Pulled me hair and they stole me comb, but that's alright till I get home. She's handsome, she is pretty, she is the belle of Belfast City. She's courting 1, 2, 3, please would you tell me who is she? And the rain and the hail blow high, and the snow comes tumbling from the sky. She's as nice as apple pie, she'll get her own lad by and by. When she gets a lad of her own, she won't tell her ma when she gets him. Let them all come as they will, for it's Albert Mooney she loves still. Tell me ma when I go home, boys won't leave the girls alone. Pulled me hair and they stole me comb, but that's alright till I get home. She is handsome, she is pretty, she is a belle of Belfast City. She is courting 1, 2, 3, please would tell me who is she?
I was a-walking one morning in May. I spied a young couple a-making love hay. Oh, one was a fair maid, and her beauty shone clear.
The other was a soldier, a bold grenadier. Good morning, good morning, good morning, said he. Where are you going, my pretty lady?
I am going a-walking by the clear crystal stream, for to see cool waters glide and hear nightingales sing. Having thus spoken, together they went into the merry green wood, where sometime there they spent. spent in walking and talking by the clear crystal stream.
Together they listen to the nightingale sing.
Oh soldier, will you marry me?
Oh no, my dear lady, it never can be. For my life is the army, and my fate it will bring. But I'll always remember you when nightingales sing.
I was a-walking one morning in May. I spied a young couple a-making of hay. On one was a fair maid, and her beauty shone clear.
The other was a soldier, a bold grenadier.
On one was a fair maid, and her beauty shone clear.
And the other was a soldier,
A bold grenadier.
Well, hello, and welcome to the Further Reflection of Faire. You know, Further Reflection of Faire, it sounds like something I would come up with, all that alliteration, but as a matter of fact, I did not. It was from the moderator that you're seeing in the chat, Lee. She came up with that, but I thoroughly approve because anything with good alliteration, I'm a fan of. I'm on board. But thank you for joining us tonight. I love these because you just get to have a great evening. It feels a lot like Faire when you have all of these different groups on, because normally we just do a couple, but with this show, you just do a bunch, and you get to really just get a little bit of everything, and that is a lot of fun. The tough part is figuring out which song, story, or just bit that or joke to pick from each of the shows that they've had on our program. And that's the tough part. But after you get past that, it's a lot of fun. But okay, thanks for being here tonight. And I just want to welcome you all and say that first up, we have a hammered dulcimer player. Now, you don't see a lot of hammered dulcimer players at Faire. There aren't many. And it's an easy reason why. It's not an easy instrument to play, and it's not an easy instrument to carry around. So a lot of respect to the people that play them. But this is Nancy Daly, and she's just marvelous. So we'll start the show with her and enjoy.
Nia no shinna na for Harry, a water no camera to Chile, Dula mana pinya, we dula mana quella, Dula mana pinya, we dula mana quella. Raha which on your is a Dula mana quella, Cana nishta broga as a Dula mana quella, Dula mana pinya, we dula mana quella, Dula mana pinya, we dula mana quella. bedded agus trus and dula mana gwelak. Bed a broke through airs and dula mana gwelak. Dula mana binya bui dula mana gwelak. Dula mana binya bui dula mana gwelak. Dula mana binya bui dula mana tlela. Dula mana fedakis dula mana jagi. Dula mana binya bui dula mana gwelak. Dula mana binya bui dula mana gwelak. No shin and nana for Harry, a water in the nook, yamara, lingua chime, dula mana binya bui dula mana gwelak, dula mana binya bui dula mana gwelak.
I do love that song. And Nancy is just fabulous. Always has been. So I really was thrilled when she got to join us here on Life's a Faire. Now, I really want to include something from Shakespeare Approves because it was just a blast having him on. But I this is a clip show, so I was kind of thinking, well, his show is, it's a long bit of Shakespeare. So I was kind of, ooh, what do we do? And then I realized he also does a song. And I thought, okay, we're going to include that. So coming up next, we have Shakespeare doing his own version of I'm a Little Teapot. Now, if you listen closely, you can hear me joining in on the arrangement with my own clapping. So feel free to join in yourself. I think you'll like it.
And we start with a song. So everyone take your hands. Hit your lap 2 times. And then clap your hands 1 time. And then do that again. 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 Repeat. 'Cause I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Here is my handle and here's my spout. Let me get all steamed up and hear me shout. Tip me over and pour me out, singing I'm a little teapot. Now all of you at home sing it. I'm a little teapot. Now Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. Always designate your driver. Sing it. Always designate your driver. It's good advice. Now Mary had a little lamb, its fleece was white as snow. And everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go. It followed her to school one day, which was against the rules. It made the children laugh and play to see a lamb at school. Ba, 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 black sheep, yeah! Ba, 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 black sheep. Sorry, that was my Run DMC moment. Now friends, keep this beat going. For you are the few, the proud, the nerds. You might be thinking, Master Shakespeare, why are you calling me such things? Well, people, you would normally be at a Renaissance fair right now, but you're watching this program right here with me. It's as nerdy as it gets. You are the ones who wear amazing costumes to the Renaissance Festival, or really nerdy t-shirts, and you know who you are, Maurice. You are the ones who wear red shirts and understand you might not get out of this episode alive. You're the ones who use the really nerdy language. Words like bazinga, and hodor, and wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey. And you know that this is the way. So you are my people, and I will lead you to freedom. Reach into the bottom of your hearts, the cockle of your heart, the self-cockle, your left big toe, your neighbor's pocket. Sing the final verse with me. But for enough of you good people right here, right now, I would not be here doing this. Oh no, I'd be at home. And by at home, I mean I'd be 14 feet that way. In air conditioning. Weirdly enough, still wearing velvet. So that much doesn't change. But I wouldn't be recording it. So thank you for being here with me and giving me the best and greatest job in all the world. At the end of the show, if you love me, if you really love me, please throw $5 into my digital hat. And if you hate me, do it anyway, because I like to eat. So sing with me now. Every pair of hands, every pair of voices. 5, 6, 7, 8. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Now I know my ABCs. Sing it loud. Now I know my ABCs. Next time, won't you sing with me? Great job, all of you. Give yourselves a round of applause.
Oh, man. Well, I hope my clap track helped a bit with the show. Doing the... I hope that helped. I thought that's exactly what that needed, just a nice little clap track. But yeah, Shakespeare is wonderful. So glad you got to see that. Yeah, you know, the next... I was a little worried about this next one too, because he did a whole sort of comedy video for us, and I was worried that I might not be able to get something from it for the clip show, but we did, because there's one thing that makes me just laugh a lot, and that's just a juggler juggling a ridiculous amount of hammers. I didn't know it would be funny, but it really is. And even threw a wrench in at the end, which I think I thought he meant it ironically. So I think that worked. I think that was his intent. That's how I read it. So check that out and look for the wrench, that secret wrench at the end, and enjoy Paolo Garbanzo.
Well, here we are in the Awesome Town garage, auto shop, and building studio. And let me just say, I have a lot of hammers. I got all kinds of hammers. I have even things that aren't actually hammers. They're super heavy, could be used as a hammer. I use hammers in all of my decorating. Wow, what a guy, Garbanzo. I hope we'll probably get sued. Yeah, and, you know, because everything's a hammer, except a chisel. That's a screwdriver. So we're going to take the hammer challenge. I'm going to juggle all these things and hopefully not get hammered myself. Let's begin. The hammer challenge. Eesh. Oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Hammer. Off the ceiling. Again off the ceiling. I learned. Oh. Oh God. Oh. What? I don't even know what this thing is.
Okay, I just like juggling hammers. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but that's the clip I went with. Which is the best part about producing a show. I get to pick whatever I want. Now, the next guest on our show, this one was probably the toughest choice out of everyone, because if you've heard Sarah Mullen on the harp, you know that everything she plays is phenomenal. She's an amazing harp player. So I really couldn't go wrong with any pick. So the choice just came down to which tune I like the best. Sometimes instead of flipping a coin, you just say, that's my favorite, that's what I'm going with. And I hope you agree. So in the comments, yeah, let me know if you think that was a good choice, if you like the tune. So listen to Sarah Mullen. See, I hope you agreed with me. I just love that tune. So, a good one. Now, the next group, Judas and Magnolia. I mean, that was another tough one to decide, but I mean, for a slightly different reason. They are such a good pair, and they work so well together on stage. If you've seen their show, you know that they're just phenomenal together. A really great chemistry on stage. And for the show that they did for us, they kind of went back and forth. And I didn't want to just show one and not the other. So I made a compromise. I ended up showing a story from Judas and a song from Magnolia and just put them together. And I think you'll like it because it's good.
Would you good people like to hear another story? Oh, I'm glad you said yes. Because if you said no, this would be a very short show. Now, this second story takes place in a wee little village in Ireland. And in this wee little village, there was a wee little church. Oh, it's a type of church that everybody would gather at on a Sunday. And one Sunday in particular, while the father, the padre, he was preaching, and he says, "Woe to those people who gamble." Oh, and a lady in the back pew says, "Amen, preacher." So the preacher continues, and he says, "Woe to those people who smoke." Oh, and that lady in the back pew, the lady in the back pew says, "Amen, preacher." So the preacher's invigorated, and he says, "Woe to those people who drink." Oh, and that lady in the back pew says, "Now you're meddling."
In the quiet, misty morning, when the moon has gone to bed, when the sparrows stop their singing, and the sky is clear and red, when the summer's ceased its gleaming, and when the corn is past its prime, when adventure's lost its meaning, I'll be homeward bound in time. Bind me not to the pasture, and chain me not to a plough. Set me free to find my calling. you find it's me you're missing, and if you're hoping I'll return to your thoughts, I'll soon be listening, and in the road I'll stop and turn, and then the wind will set me racing as my journey nears its end. On my path I'll be retracing when I'm homeward bound again. In the quiet, misty morning, when the moon has gone to bed, when the sparrows stop their singing, I'll be homeward bound again.
Judas and Magnolia, definitely special. Well, for the next group, we have Chaste Treasure. And Chaste Treasure, this was an interesting choice as well on which song to pick, because they sent a bunch of songs for their show with us. Now, in the podcast where I interviewed Melissa from Chaste Treasure, she said that they had 21 different girls in Chaste Treasure. I mean, wow, that's just a lot of talent and an ability to be at several fairs at once. So, quite impressive. The choice was tough on which group to showcase, but once again, I'm producing, so I was very selfish. I went with the group I know. I first met Chaste Treasure in Louisiana at the Louisiana Renaissance Festival, so that's the crew I kind of went with, and I hope you don't mind. So, Chaste Treasure with Black Agnes.
Black Agnes was a Scottish lass, a bonny noble bride of a man who went to jail for his country's pride.
Agnes watched the enemy bring an army to her wall, and down she cried, for haggis' sake, I'll die before I fall. Up with your kilt and down with your arse, you make me bloody sick. Your family tree's a cactus cause you're such a freaking prick. I hope you step on Legos and I hope your goldfish dies. I swear to every one of you I'll be no Bonny prize. Ba-ba-da-dum, bum, bum, ba-ba-da-dum, bum, bum.
I wish a horrid pestilence upon your friends and kin. I hope that every time you wipe your fingers slip right in. I wish you more hair up your nose than has upon your head.
And I hope you shout the wrong name when you take your wife to bed. Oh, with your kilt and down with your arse, you make me bloody sick. Your family tree's a cactus cause you're such a freaking prick. I hope you step on Legos and I hope your goldfish dies. I swear to every one of you I'll be no Bonny prize. Ba-ba-da-dum, bum, bum, ba-ba-da-dum, bum, bum.
You'll never get in, hear me lads, give up your crusade. You'll throw right up a chicken's butt and pray that you get laid.
You smell like diarrhea and you're such a freaking creep. It's nice you grew a beard to make it easier on the cheap.
Up with your kilt and down with your arse, you make me bloody sick.
Your family tree's a cactus cause you're such a freaking prick. I hope you step on Legos and I hope your goldfish dies. I swear to every one of you I'll be no Bonny prize. Ba-ba-da-dum, bum, bum, ba-ba-da-dum, bum, bum. Black Agnes was a Scottish lass, the pride of all the land. The enemy threw down his sword and threw up both his hands. All right, me lads, the jig is up, we've made the most of it. We've sharpened up our swords, boys, but she sharpened up her wit.
Ah, they're great. Now, next we have a special treat. A rare treat, because you don't normally see two different hammered dulcimer players in a show. But here we have Vince Conaway, a fabulous hammered dulcimer player. And the song he's going to do is called February. He wrote it himself, and he said that he usually puts it at the end of shows or sections of shows. It's normally his closer. So I went ahead and put it in the middle of the show. I couldn't resist. So, but I hope you like it because it's a great tune, and I know you're gonna, well, he's a great player. Vince, can't really say much about that. He's just an amazing performer, an amazing player. Yeah. Well, next we have Shelli Buttons, an aerialist, acrobat, juggler, and if you saw one of the pictures in the pre-show, fire breather. I mean, she does a bit of everything. Yeah, and I interviewed her in a podcast before too. Well, actually, I interviewed almost everybody on here on the podcast at some point. But yes, she literally went and studied so many different fair professions. Quite astonishing, really. So, very interesting podcast. That's one of the reasons I like doing podcasts, because I get to interview and find out all of these things I never knew about some of these people I've known for years. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, Shelli, now, it was tough to figure out what clip to use because she's, like I said, an aerialist and does all of that. But it was tough because some of those were fairly long in the show. But I thought this bit of, well, strength and agility that she does here is a very good example of what she can do. And I do apologize for the wind that you can hear in the mic on this, but there's a reason for that. It was incredibly windy. And what you're hearing is after I filtered out a lot of it already. She told me later that she wasn't sure she should actually do the bit and film it because it was borderline. But she did do it, and the fact that she could do that in that level of wind is quite amazing. So take a look and you judge for yourself. Shelli Buttons.
I'm gonna walk across these bottles and not break my face. Yes, they are real glass. In case you were My friends do this differently. They smash the bottles first. I think that's the smarter way to go.
I see that and I think I really just need to go to the gym right now because, wow, I can't even believe that she can do all of that. But yes, definitely inspiring. Now, the next group I've known for a good while, Faire to Middlin. They're more regional down here in the South, in Midwest, but for those of you who haven't seen them, but they're just a very fun group and really, really nice people. But they did something very interesting at the beginning of the year. They just moved to France. So they are in France right now and having, from what I can tell, a very, very good time, enjoying it. Now, I contacted them and said, oh, would you like to be on the show? This would be great. I'd love to have you. And they were all for it. So what you're going to see is one of their songs that they did for the show for us from France. So, and don't worry, they've got wine and bread in the shot, so they're covered.
I'm a wandering minstrel, I sing for my bread. I've lately been lonely and thinking to wed, but I never realized how hard it could be to find the right girl in the 10th century.
Times were very, very tough.
For starters have, prospects are dead from pox, dysentery, and bubonic plague. And the survivors are all on the run from priests, knights, and squires, and even some nuns.
Even nuns?
Yeah, it's a strange time.
Wow.
Hey, oh, I search to and fro, it's always the same wherever I go. I never knew how hard it could be to find the right girl in the 10th century. I was advised to find a fair princess, but they never cook or do any dishes. And a woman I did know a good wife would make was recently captured and burned at the stake.
Shocking.
It smelled horrible.
I'm sure.
Though the ladies arrayed in their fashions, I see you here.
Yeah.
I'll take that one or maybe that one. But it appears they're with aristocrats. I dusted back up and avoid the rack.
Wise move.
It hurts. Hey, oh, I just do and fro. It's always the same wherever I go. I never knew how hard it could be to find the right girl in the 10th century.
That's enough. Too much of a good thing.
Our wenches are pretty and may make good wives. If you are wary of their poisons and knives, it's true their courses to fair treasures hold. Take care with the laces, they often explode.
Oh, they do not.
I have scars.
Yeah, you do.
Barbarian girls, some say they are better. They all look so nice in their chainmail and leather. Although I'm tempted, I'll pass just the same. I prefer love making without being maimed.
You know, makes sense.
Sometimes it hurts so good though. Hey, oh, I just do and fro. It's always the same wherever I go. I never knew how hard it could be to find the right girl in the 10th century.
All right, it's time to lower the bar.
I consider a leper, but will be insisting that none of the good parts are dangling or missing. These days are hard, not easy to please, but I prefer a woman without too many fleas. You know, you can get a collar for that.
I forgot it.
I'll expand my search to the elves and the fairies, but ogre girls are just a little too hairy. The problem with the mythical creatures, you're never quite sure they have all the right features. Sometimes they have too many. Hey, oh, I search to and fro. It's always the same wherever I go. I never knew how hard it could be to find the right girl in the 10th century. To find the right girl in the 10th century. Times were tough. They were.
Yeah, that was a song that Faire to Middlin wrote themselves, The Right Girl. So, Yes, just want to make that clear that I always try to do songs that the artists write themselves if I can on a show like this. I don't always, but if I have a choice, that's what I go for, because I like to showcase their talent as much as possible. And of course, as we all have been to Faire, we know there are a lot of people out there with great, amazing talent. So always good to showcase it. And speaking of that, next we have Bonny Moffatt. Now, a great storyteller, usually around the Midwest. And, well, I ran into a problem trying to get a clip set up from her, because the show she did for us, she told stories, but they were pretty long stories. And for the show, I was trying to limit everybody to around 4 minutes or under. For her, it would have been more like 9+ minutes. So I wasn't quite sure what to do. So I talked with her about it, and she so generously said, okay, I'll just record something, a short story for you and send it right to you. So this is actually something new on our clip show. You know, I guess that technically that's kind of cheating. Oh well. But at the very least, it's something new, and she was just wonderful to do that for us. So here you go, Bonny Moffatt.
Good morrow, Bonny Moffatt here, with perhaps the quickest story that I can tell. You see, once upon a time, as most stories go, there was a musician and a poet, which who were quite good friends. Now, let me be the first to warn you that musicians have an interesting sense of humour. Just to say, not a very good one at all. But indeed, on their first meeting, the musician asked the poet what kind of horses come out only after dusk. The poet thought about this for a moment before the musician answered, nightmares. Alright, it was terrible, but it was redeemable, and they continued on. Not much later on in their friendship, they were spending some more time together, and the musician leaned into the poet and asked, what do you call a fish with no eyes? Alright, wordplay, fair enough, as it goes. But then they continued on with these gems. Said, well, what do you call a deer with no eyes? Poet shrugged, and the musician answered, no idea. Yeah, I can hear your groans too, but it does get worse. The musician asked one final question, joke thing. So what do you call a deer with no eyes and no legs? Still no idea. Oh boy. Now, unfortunately, even though those whoppers were told, the poet found themselves quite enamored of the musician. It happens. I know, it's beyond all reason, but as it goes. And so one day, the poet comes up to the musician, accosts them, says, my dear friend, it's come to me that I have feelings for you. Well, the musician stops and looks at the poet and agrees. I've got feelings for you as well. The poet stops and says, well, I guess you know what that means. The musician kind of looks back at the poet. Well, you're the winner. And that is when the musician let fall the worst joke of all time that anyone had ever really heard. The musician said, winner, I hardly know her. My friends, this just goes to show you, you cannot choose who you love, even when they're a musician.
She is, as I said, wonderful. Oh, now next we have Roger Awesome, TJ, and he is, well, you know, honestly, when I first approached him to be on our show, I was a little worried because he is a Faire owner, a performer, now a musician, and he also teaches martial arts and is a stunt coordinator, and it just a little bit of everything. And I figured he's going to be really busy. I don't know if he can do this, but he did. He did put something together for us, and I was so grateful. Amazing guy and amazing talent. Roger Awesome. And picking a song was tough because one of my criteria that I normally go with for picking songs like this is I want to do something that sounds a lot like Faire. And he did do several traditional songs, but occasionally I just really like a song that a performer does, and I'll be like, you know, this is my show. I'm going to do it. And he wrote this song called the Sandwich Song, which always makes me laugh, so that's the one I showcase. I hope you like it.
I'm tired of singing songs about relationships, so I'm gonna sing to you about sandwiches, yeah. Sandwiches are great, sandwiches are good, sandwiches are just about the perfect food. Woo! Sandwiches. Turkey sandwiches are my favorite sandwiches. They're relatively low in fat and they're good for you. Turkey sandwiches, you better believe a turkey sandwich would never ever leave you all alone. You thought you could rely on a turkey sandwich? Honey mustard is my very favorite condiment. All the goodness of honey and mustard too. Honey mustard is just a perfect blend, but it would not make out with your best friend. No matter how drunk honey mustard was, and how bad you are at emotional connection, that's not the kind of thing that honey mustard would do to a person. Sandwiches are great, sandwiches are good, sandwiches are just about the perfect food. Woo! I'm so glad we're not singing about relationships right now. I got one more verse, then we're gonna say goodbye. Whole grain bread is my favorite sandwich bread. It's got a lot of fiber and it makes you regular. It's actually important. You gotta be regular, because otherwise, you know. Whole grain bread, it might go stale, but it would never cheat with some guy named Dale. Even if he's a doctor who makes a lot more money than you, you can't compete with him in his stupid car, stupid carriage, stupid. I'm coming for you, Dale! Sandwiches are great, sandwiches are good, sandwiches are just about the perfect food.
Oh, yeah, I think Leah's right in the comments there on Facebook that at some point in our lives we can all relate to that song a little bit. But for me, I just laugh like crazy. And TJ does such a good job with that. Oh, man. Oh, well, we've come to that moment in the show where we have one more performer. Now, figuring out a show like this and deciding who goes first and who goes last is always a tough call. And sometimes figuring out the flow of a show is kind of like organizing the noon parade at Faire, you know. So the next performer is Piper Gunn. And where do you put a bagpipe in a parade? At the beginning or at the end? Those are the places. Those are the rules. So so I went ahead and put him at the end, and just to kind of close it out in a very bagpipe sort of way. I thought about doing a closing song, but, you know, a standard bagpipe closer, but he did write a few tunes in the show, and I wanted to showcase those. So this is one called Miss Valerie Anderson that he wrote himself. So I hope you enjoy it. I just like his laugh at the end. He really gets into it, which I guess you're supposed to. Now, I noticed in the comments on Facebook, Bonnie Moffatt is talking about Parade and how she doesn't miss that. Now, I'm going to disagree with that. I actually love Parade, and I really go after. I always. In fact, it's very rare I don't do Parade at any fair I've ever done. And I think it's really just the way that you look at it. Because for me, I work hard throughout the day. I start playing music, and I'm usually playing music almost nonstop. But there are times at different fairs, I'll have set times where I'm supposed to be places, sometimes 14 or so during the day, and I'm just going all the time. So one of the great things about being a patron at Faire is being able to people watch, and you get to see all the great costumes and all of that kind of thing. And when you're a performer, you don't always get to do that, except at one time during the day at noon, usually noon, everybody lines up for your inspection. So I walk through the fair and I get to see every person, every costume. If I'm supposed to meet somebody or see somebody that I know during the day, well, they're going to be there. And I get to see everything in that 20, 25-minute walk. I get to see it all. And I enjoy it every time. It's a lot of fun. But that's me. But like I said, it's always how you look at it. But again, thanks for joining us tonight. It has been a great time, especially a great time seeing all of these groups again. Some of them were on our show a few months ago, early on, so it's kind of surreal to go back to it and see all of it and relive that. These months have just flown by in a way, but so much has happened during them for us. It still feels like a lot. But thanks for going on this journey with us tonight, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as we do. But I'll leave you with this. Have a great night, and I know that life isn't always fair, but it should be. Have a good one.